Norse mythology, Loki,
Loki. Yeah.
Atreus. Yeah, he's a Christian god. He's literally a god of trick, and the way that everybody is tricked and like, oh my god is the right one and all that stuff, and all the trickery that's happening, and the way that people are like, fooled by it. I could find that Loki would be laughing at this, and that he would be the Christian god.
Hmm.
It's a whole theory. It's way deeper than that. I have a whole bunch of notes on it, but it's like really. I mean, look at it. Yeah, makes sense, right?
No, would Loki is the same person who gave birth to a wolf and a giant snake. I wouldn't be surprised of anything at this point.
Well, I mean, Loki is known for his tricks and the way that people are tricked to believing that the Abrahamic God is the right one, and how the Abrahamic faith, especially the Christians and the Muslims, they fight about this back and forth, back and forth. Like they're tricked up. And I would argue that he thinks this is hilarious.
People also have to understand that things like Judeo-Christian groups exist. Like these very complex topics need to be brought to light because people don't understand that like Judeo-Christian groups exist. Things such as like Abrahamic like cleansing groups also exist. Things of like merging of Buddhism and Hinduism, those groups exist. So like the idea that religion doesn't have to be a pre-existing belief system. I'm not even gonna bother with that one.
When you say Judeo-Christians, can I ask the question real quick? When you say Judeo-Christians, are you talking about like Christians who still follow the old law? Is that what you mean by that?
I'm talking. What I learned of Judeo-Christianity is like it's the group of is combining Christianity and Judaism together, like combination of their beliefs. That's what I learned of it, and that's about the extent of my knowledge goes with that one. So I couldn't tell you any further.
Okay.
I don't know what Saturn. But I not either. Can be a combination. Nobody said it couldn't be. I literally just explained why combination groups exist.
And if it was a combination, wouldn't that contradict?
Mm-hmm.
Not if they follow these values.
You said why would they what?
I said not if they follow similar values. Like you can combine, right? If they're following under the same principles and under effectively the same God, in a sense, you can come to a common consensus and agree on like one set combined group.
So they're picking some ethics from some gods, but they have to ignore other things certain gods say for the combination to work.
Yeah, it's like a compromise.
Yeah.
Pros, cons.
That's ridiculous. I feel like it's just that has contradiction written all over it.
Hey, it's a thing. I mean, even with my religion, the Shintoism thing, we had earlier Shintoists merged with like Buddhist beliefs, and that's how we got Shinto Buddhism. And then it was revoked and returned to regular Shintoism. So like earlier studiers, earlier scholars of that religion very well did the whole combination thing.
Addie, what you think?
I don't know. I've just been eating.
Yeah, because so many questions come up with that, but
Shinbutsu Shugo. It's the name of the combined religion of Shinto and Buddhism. Ugh. And I probably would say that that combination made the most sense of all of them that I've seen so far. But I could also be speaking from bias.
Oh, I got a question. So,
Yeah.
so, what's his name? Is it Sun God Wukong? Had a religion behind him, or was it just he was just a mythical creature?
Wukong is first. Wukong is purely fictional. Like that one has like no real backing. But Wukong, his journey to the West essentially was him transferring from. He was originally in like Chinese mythology, right? With like the Jade Emperor and things of that sort. The journey to the West is him kind of moving further into Buddhism. So you could argue that he did have religious backing to him in the sense of like Buddhism.
Okay, so like, what's the big differential or big difference between a mythical creature being made up and like a mythical god being made up? What's like, what really separates them? Like, is it the belief, or if it has like a big enough following to actually call it a religion? What separates those two?
Nothing.
I can answer that.
Inherently fictional being. So, like when you think of there are multiple, many religions. Like there are people out there who worship a flying spaghetti monster. To be honest, it really doesn't matter what what it is you're believing in. Like if flying dragons, for instance, right? Mythological creature that can still be a religion, right? But you could also be believing in like Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun. So that can also be religion. So it doesn't really necessarily matter to differentiate between two because they can still be religions based on them.
Because like all you need is just like it's not a certain number to make it a religion. It's just the
It
belief
needs to
itself.
be an established faith. Like I do think you need to have like at least some following behind it. Otherwise, I feel like you're gonna be singled out to be crazy. But yeah,
Mr. Fact, what was your answer gonna be? You said you had an answer for it.
Yeah. Well, religion as we know it is still young compared to spiritual practices from ancient civil back in the time when ancient civilizations roamed this earth. Technology. You have to look at it like the symbolism behind these deities and what they represented and the type of ancient wisdom and knowledge they obtained. Now, one thing that's been missing uh, from these modern kind of information or knowledge of the of the universe or nature, um, where someone can say, okay, this deity gave me this information. This strictly came from a divine presence. That doesn't happen anymore. It used to, and I think that's why these these ancient civilizations worship these specific deities, whoever they might have been, but they were very real in that present point in time, um, because they were able to gain a certain amount of information that they could actually use that was actually tangible, that they actually brought back from whatever state that they were in, because they did practice out of body experiences as well and talked about dimensions and other realms that scientists are talking about to this day. And they didn't have the technology that we had, but as a matter of fact, what the type of technology we have is more hardwired based on this physical reality, where with them it was based on pure spirituality. That's why with the Dogon tribe, um, they were able to map out certain stars without a telescope. And to this day, astronomers and scientists are baffled how they were able to gain that type of gain that type of understanding
This is my
without any
phone.
kind of tangible technology.
Where does the Dogon tribe come from? Is that like the, okay?
Africa.
All right, bud. You asked for this one.
Go ahead, Addy.
No, I'm good.
I'm not
But,
religious. I have a relationship with the one, as we all are.
but you said
Sorry.
a little earlier that we don't see these things popping up anymore. I feel like these things don't pop up anymore because like it's more verifiable. So nobody can like squeeze in and say I talked to God, because back in ancient times, for you to be believable, you would have to say this is a divine message from God. So that's what got people to believe in whatever they were saying. But as time went on, things became easily more verifiable, so people couldn't really use God as an scapegoat for them understanding certain things. So that's why it just slowly faded out. We see less and less religions.
Well, this is the thing about science. It's based on theory and hypothesis, right? Hypotheses that they come up with, but they still don't have like the absolute or complete answers to how things actually work and why they work in the way they do. But they give an explanation of it, with a theory. They come up with these theories, and they always changing their theories over time because they always find something wrong, something in not really seeing things the right way. So yeah, this and they're still researching ancient history, when it comes to these artifacts and how certain things were made, like the pyramids, for instance. Like they still don't even know, they still can't give a definitive answer on how the pyramids were actually constructed. So yeah.
I mean, when it comes to science, one thing that we need to understand is that the term theory in science doesn't mean what it means, like when we say, like in colloquial terms, just guessing at something. But in science, when a theory is basically a body of facts, you see what I'm saying? Like they get phenomena to make observations, experiments, and then they see exactly what lines up. And if it all lines up well and it explains the facts, what we're seeing well, then it becomes a theory. You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's the definition of a theory. But if you understand that all a theory, like you said, it's an explanation of the facts and data that you've collected because you have evidence, right? But again, they're always digging up something else that adds to that, that'll add to those compilation of facts, and then the whole theory changes now. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's just an explanation of and that explanation can change over time. Where it could be the wrong explanation, it could be the wrong theory. Get it? The facts don't change, but the theory changes because now you have more facts. Like if I had, so that's what you got to understand, that the ancient civilizations, what they were able to accomplish and do wasn't based on theory or fact. It's based on pure experience of understanding how the universe works. And this is something that science is still trying to catch up with. Science is actually a baby compared to what spirituality is. It's almost like this. The best analogy I can use is somebody like, let's say somebody read about boxing, right? And you know everything about a jab and how to step with your feet. You know everything about how a boxer is supposed to move, but you haven't actually practiced it. You actually haven't gotten in the ring and actually fought for yourself. Actually, never had a pro fight, not even an amateur fight. Now, somebody that never read a book but practiced all the moves and actually did it themselves and had a pro fight or many pro fights, they have two different experiences. So, who do you think knows more about boxing? The one that read about it, or the one that actually did it? that actually had pro fights.
Right, the one that actually did it. But what I'm saying is,
Okay. So what I'm saying. So let me finish. Let me finish respectfully. Let me finish what I was trying.
Bro, you've been talking for 3 minutes. Bro. Like what I'm saying.
Let me finish what I had to say. Don't mute me, man. Shut the fuck up and let me finish.
You shut the fuck up because you already been talking.
Because you're a fucking idiot and you don't want to.
We're not gonna do all that, man. We're not gonna do all the insults. If you want to have a respectful, I'm respectful to you just
because you're an idiot and you don't want to learn.
I've been respectful to you the whole time. I've been respectful to you the whole time. I didn't insult
you. Cut me off. You cut me off. I don't like being cut off.
Insult you, bro.
You don't know you was disrespectful because you cut.
No, he did that.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. We're not gonna be disrespectful. This guy's sitting here and talking 5 minutes, and I'm trying to explain to him like, yes, the person who has the experience is the one who's gonna be better at it. But when it comes to science, they'll do that experience. That's what they're doing with experiments. That's where the word experiment came from. Experience. He's just trying to talk this whole time. I'm trying to explain to him like, yeah, we actually do know how ancient people did things, and ancient people got things wrong all the time. You see, I'm trying to explain this to him, and he out here calling me an idiot and all this other good stuff, man. Like we're not doing that.
Yeah, because he made like 5 big points where you could have stopped him at any point, but like question.
Has anybody addressed Chris?
Oh, Chris,
we're being respectful. That's all.
Oh, go ahead. What do you think about the topic?
So just kind of on the topic that you can't have a relationship with God and you can't be religious. I suppose I disagree with that because I guess I view God and religion and spirit, or just God, a bit different than most people. I believe in a supreme being that made the world. He made the laws, but I think that's about all he did. And from there, I'm not religious in the slightest. I don't have a religion. I kind of just live my life according to my own morals, my own principles, and I believe in a supreme being. But I'm not religious at all. So from my personal experience and the way I live, I do believe that you can have a relationship with God and not be religious. I'm kind of living proof of that from my perspective.
You said the supreme being made the laws?
Well, yeah, because I believe the creator who made the universe, you got gravity and, you got a lot of laws in place that, no one can explain where they came from. And, in my view, I'd say the best explanation that we currently have would be, a God that made the universe also made the laws along with it. So, yeah.
I mean, we have theories. We have scientific theories of where naturalistic laws like gravity and
when it comes to Chris, here's the thing. When it comes to saying that you have a relationship, like what does this relationship entail exactly?
Belief. I believe he's real. The concept of him creating the universe, making the laws. It's not a real cozy relationship. I don't pray to him and everything, but I do believe in his existence. I believe he made the universe and the laws that govern it. But that is about it.
So you believe there's a supreme being out there that created the universe, and essentially that's it.
Yeah, correct. I think he made the universe. He made the laws, and I guess a lot of the Christians like to say we were given free will, and I guess I'd agree with that because if God influenced this world, we wouldn't have free will. So I think he made the world. He made the laws, and that's about it. The rest is up to us. So,
so you don't really have a relationship with this entity. It's just something that exists out there in the universe that created the universe, and that's essentially it. That's basically deism, which but like I think the term relationship is kind of loaded there because like I know Trump exists, but I don't have a relationship with him. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's one of those things. You feel me?
Well, I wouldn't call it theism because if the theism stance is that God does.
I said deism, not theism, deism.
Oh, deism.
Yes.
I guess that's possible. And I guess you're right. Not to play semantics, but it would depend on what the definition of relationship is for the discussion. And I guess the way I view a relationship is when two people or two things agree on certain, concepts or topics. I view that as a relationship that we both acknowledge it. But if there was a different, perspective someone had on it, that would go against what I'm saying.
Yeah, let me give you an example of what I mean. Like, for example, I agree with, let's take it to politics, right? Like, I agree with certain stances with Bernie Sanders. So it's like we don't have a relationship. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. A relationship is more of, there's like back and forth, like communication, love, like acknowledgement there, stuff like that. This
Yeah.
is more like something like parasocial. You know what I mean? The relationship between you and this entity is probably one way, then instead of both ways. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I agree what you're saying, but I guess from my stance, I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate here. So, but I do think that God acknowledges me and knows I'm here, but that's about it. But I get what you're saying 100%, and I think most people think of a relationship as a back and forth between two people, kind of praying and shit like that. So I understand where you're coming from. So I guess depending on how you would word, what a relationship is, depending on that view, it would either make or break what I'm saying. So I hear what you're saying though. Basically because I don't pray to God and I don't actually talk to him per se, and I don't believe he talks back. With the way you look at a relationship, technically that isn't a relationship, and I completely understand where you're coming from. So no, that was it. That's all I had.
Yeah, I got you. I'll figure it out.
All right.
But you kept going back to the laws, and the
Yeah.
laws. You're talking about laws of physics, and these laws are like just us understanding how the world works. That doesn't necessarily say God is actually in existence.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is, whether gravity actually is gravity or it's magnetism or dielectricity, whatever you want to call it, regardless, if you can explain it, you must acknowledge it that it's real because it does affect us. And in my opinion, we don't have the scientific evidence or a decent theory to explain where it came from. And in my view, at that point, even if it isn't the case, the best possible explanation with what we have available would be a supreme being.
Well, for gravity, wouldn't it be the bending of space time and such a mass object just curving space time and that's drawing us in near towards itself? That's
but you would have to be able to explain where that came from at that point, because if you cannot, what's that?
Where the Earth came from? Is that what you asked?
Well, just in general, like to fully understand something, in my opinion, and some people might disagree, if you really understand something, typically you can understand the origin or how it was made, and then from there, how to manipulate it and recreate it. And I don't believe we can do that at this point.
Be able to recreate the Earth and recreate gravity?
Well, gravity, for example, because I apologize if I misunderstood, but you were kind of saying we were talking about gravity, and I was basically saying, or you said that some people understand it, have a decent grasp, and my rebuttal to that was, unless we can recreate it or kind of understand the actual process of it, we don't actually understand it. We just have theories with the best possible information available, but that still doesn't mean that we fully understand it.
We can recreate gravity. All you need for to recreate gravity is mass. Like you're creating gravity right now.
Right, but I mean, like, to be able to make zero gravity and stuff of this nature, I don't believe we can do that. There's example of zero gravity chambers, but basically they're just giant buildings that spin like crazy at altitudes, or planes diving, for example. Exactly. We're not actually recreating it. We're just playing upon the laws that are already at play.
Right. We just have to play with the laws of physics, because the thing is, like, we live in Earth is a gravity well itself. So to simulate zero gravity, we have to either be underwater, or we'll have to do what you said, spin at a certain angle in a plane or in a building or something like that. You can't. The only true quote unquote zero gravity, if that even a thing, is the vacuum of space.
Right, and my stance is, if we truly understood it, we would be able to recreate it. But since we cannot do that, we don't fully grasp it, and we don't fully understand what it is.
Not necessarily, because we may not just have the equipment or the technology to do it. You see,
right.
For example, right. We can recreate a human being if we wanted to, because we know exactly what goes into a human being, like, from scratch. You see what I'm saying?
But not consciousness.
We just don't have the actual technology to manipulate molecules at that level. It's like putting, like, a scientist explained it to me like this: if we wanted to, we can actually recreate a whole human cell from scratch, But the process to do that is like putting a puzzle piece together with boxing gloves. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the technology to do that yet. So
Right.
that's why we can't. So we can understand gravity, we just don't have the technology to do it.
But my point is, with the human being, you can't recreate consciousness. We can make the cell, the flesh, and everything to go along with it. But the only thing that actually makes us human is our consciousness, which we also can't explain at this point. So I would say we can't rebuild humans because you can't build consciousness.
No, you don't have answers.
I'm not saying it's definitely God. I'm saying with the available information that we have, that would be the most likely conclusion. It's not definitively the answer, but given the information that we have available, it makes the most sense.
You don't side with God even though, just because we don't know.
Right. I mean, the thing is, like, if that was the case, like anything that we're not sure of or we don't exactly know is all of a sudden could be God. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not really how things work. Just because we don't have an explanation for something doesn't mean that the God is the answer. That's what you mean by God of the gaps. That's kind of what you're doing. You're saying because we don't know what it is yet, therefore God is the answer. I mean, the thing about consciousness is an emergent property. There are things in this universe that come from emergence, and we don't exactly know what emergence is. Like, for example, if I were to ask you what is fire, you can tell me, fire is a hot substance that you get by rubbing two dry sticks together, but that's not actually what fire is. Fire is an emergent property of things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we can't really explain emergence and why it happens the way it happens. Like consciousness is an emergence, fire is an emergence, even the human body is an emergence. Like cells are not actually alive, but cells come together, trillions of cells come together and boom, we're here. You see what I'm saying? We're not exactly sure how or why that happens, but that doesn't necessarily mean therefore God. You see what I'm saying? There's a gap in our knowledge, but that doesn't mean God is.
And I absolutely understand what you're saying. And, regarding the consciousness and stuff like that, or say fire, for example, I 100% get what you're saying. We can explain it, but we don't know where it came from. And you can even say with the Big Bang or anything that this is how stuff came to be. But how did the beginning even come to be? How did the laws that created anything come to be? And this is something we don't understand. It'd be fourth, fifth dimensional if supreme being per se, and that's why I think a lot of people do refer to God, or I don't like saying God. I prefer saying a supreme being. But there's lots of concepts that we don't understand, and maybe in time we can. But most people explain God as a fourth or fifth dimensional being that is omnipotent and can create everything that goes above and beyond the laws of physics and everything. And
and the thing is why that seems because the thing is if we're gonna make those type of I think the best conclusion or the best or the most honest answer to the question of how did the Big Bang happen and how did these laws of physics came to be is simply I don't know. Because the moment that we put in there must have been a supreme being, well, how do we actually know the supreme being is there? Because we can say that's the best explanation, but how did you exclude other explanations, such as aliens with the good technology, or such as this is being a natural process of the universe? It just happened trillions of times before, and that will never, it'll happen trillions of times after, forever and ever. Or how did you exclude, universe creating pixies? There's a lot of answers that you got to exclude before you get to the supreme being thing.
I mean, every
Hey
single
guys,
thing you
wait,
said.
hold up, Chris. Hold up.
Yeah.
I was just letting Rose know I am here. I am also in a hospital, and I am also on fetal monitoring
Okay.
and a whole bunch of other things for like pre-eclampsia right now. So I am running my lab, but I'm really thankful that you're doing the work.
Oh, you're welcome.
Everything all right with the baby?
But so
Yeah, no, he's fine. I'm just my blood pressure's like really high.
Oh,
So
okay, gotcha.
yeah, I have to go to labor and delivery and get monitored and looking at like steroids and maybe having him early and stuff. So yeah, I'm on the monitors right now, having contractions and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really know what's next yet. They're talking to the doctors, doing lab work. So I'm here, but I'm just not debating.
all right.
No, I got you. Keep us updated.
But to kind of answer your question there, you brought up aliens and stuff of this nature, and but even those need a starting point. There has to be something in place for the origin of everything, and the only possible explanation for this could be something that lives outside the laws of physics, outside the world that transcends it all. That's you know, it's the only logical explanation as irrational and illogical as it is. But the only explanation is something that is irrational and illogical. Otherwise, it couldn't have done it.
Well, what I'm saying is that doesn't exclude like stuff like just we could just say if you say that what is how was energy created, we can also say where did your being come from, where how was your being created. If you say that the being always existed, we can also say energy always existed. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's why I said like the most honest answer has to be I don't know, because we're just gonna be asking each other the same questions over and over. Because if you say that point, why can't your being have a beginning point? You see what I'm saying?
Well, I'd say because energy isn't considered omnipotent and all-knowing and all-powerful, whereas a supreme omnipotent being is all of those things and transcends space-time.
Right, correct.
That
But
would be
what
the
I'm saying
difference.
is that how do you know that being is actually there, or why is that the conclusion and not something else? You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, if you're going to say that the being is all knowing and omnipotent and everything like that, that creates a ton of problems. Because it's like if that being is all knowing and omnipotent and what can basically do whatever, you're going to get contradictions within that being in of itself. Is it also omniscient? Like it can really do anything?
I believe it has the potential to, but with my stance, all it did was make the world and create the laws. Most people don't share the way I view it, but this is the way I view it. And just kind of getting into it, I understand it doesn't make sense, and I'm not saying this is absolutely what happened, but I'm saying scientifically there is no logical sort, and the only explanation could be something that would transcend all that. I'm not saying it's real, and I'm certainly not saying this absolutely is how it goes. But given what we know, a supreme being is your only logical solution, in this.
Not necessarily, because like I said, like energy can also explain all this.
But you need a law for energy to exist. You need a concept. A concept.
So where's the beginning of your being?
Well, if the being transcends time, space, and all known laws in physics, it would be able to create itself or always exist if
Okay,
it wanted to.
Okay, so we apply the same thing to energy. It always existed, and it transcends laws and energy, and it transcends laws and
Okay, but I mean, there's no laws to even. Unless energy is what creates the laws that would govern energy.
Correct.
That doesn't make sense.
But you just said your being creates itself.
Right, because a supreme being created energy, it transcends it. It would transcend everything theoretically.
Right, and energy creates energy. It transcends everything.
I
This is what I'm saying. Like everything that you're applying to your being, we can apply it to anything else. I don't even have to use energy. I can use universe creating pixies. Universe creating pixies always existed because they create themselves.
I mean, well,
I
then
got a question for you,
And
Chris.
universe creating pixies are all knowing and all powerful. You know what I'm saying? We just can't define things into existence. Like you see what I'm saying? Like
Say this. Why would he only put life in one planet? So if your supreme being created the universe we live in, and how we know how massive it is, why would he only put life on one planet, which is less than 1% of the whole universe? Like, what kind of divine plan is that?
I never said his plan was divine. I never said this God was good, evil.
Divine means God.
What's that? I said supreme being. I never said divine.
Yeah, no. Anything that the supreme being does is supreme. It's divine.
Could I speak?
You'd have to. What do you mean by divine, boss?
Would you equate the supreme being God? Supreme being God?
I mean, it depends on what you mean as God. You know, like I said, the way I view it,
A supernatural,
absolutely,
all-powerful being.
Absolutely.
So, what kind of plan was it just to make life on one tiny planet that's insignificant to the whole universe?
I mean, I have no idea, brother. I mean, I don't know.
So just to say it was a being who did it, where are you getting this idea from? Because we should see life everywhere then, all throughout our solar system.
I mean, not necessarily. You don't understand it. It's nothing we can understand. I mean, where did my idea come from?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. One second. I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to go ahead and get out of here because it's my family reunion today, and I got to set up and stuff. So I'm gonna see you guys later, and it was good talking to you guys. All right.
Stay safe.
But yeah, man. I mean, it really is all semantics when it's all said and done, and it really doesn't matter. I don't think it changes our lives. I think it's simply a fun thing to debate and talk about. In practicality, I really don't think any of this matters. It's just, I enjoy talking to people about it. But
you think perspective can change people's lives?
Absolutely. Perspective is what shapes people's lives.
There you go. If you give people a certain perspective on a certain topic, you have the potential to change someone's views or opinions.
I mean, sure, but I mean, the only person that can really change that is, that person.
That person, but you can open them up to new potential ideas within, whatever's being discussed.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I used to think like that, but most people aren't really open-minded enough to, be willing.
2024. I don't know what open-minded means nowadays.
Yeah. On it is that we really have no concept of how. Well, I guess to make it bulletproof, nothing can come from nothing unless it was something that transcends virtually everything in existence. And at that point, where do I come up with this supreme being figure? Well, the only thing that can create nothing or something from nothing would be a supreme being that transcends virtually everything.
But then you have to question causality.
Could you explain that to me, please?
So when you have this idea that something created itself and then created everything else, causality, what would be the reason a supreme being would need to create itself to create humanity on Earth?
Well, if you're a supreme
or create
being,
universes or anything like that, like what would be the causality of something appearing from nothing at all and creating everything?
Well, if you're a supreme being, you don't have to play to, causality or any laws for that matter.
But creation itself is what subjects your supreme being to causality. That's what I'm explaining. Like when it comes to causality, it's like me as a human, right?
Yeah.
Me having a baby and creating a human.
Yeah.
What would be the cause of me doing that? Oh, my kid is getting lonely, or I want to expand my family. So in creation, in theory, there has to be causality. What would cause something that didn't exist to create itself and then create everybody else?
Because it wanted to. There doesn't have to be an actual, like, so with the God that I have, that I view, they don't need a reason for anything. It can simply be because they wanted to, or it just happened. I mean, I have no
You're
idea. I
explaining a
couldn't.
supreme being with a humanistic quality of because something wants. Why would a supreme being want anything?
I have no idea. I mean, it completely transcends my own thought. I mean, if I could understand it, it probably wouldn't be God at that point, right?
No,
It
but that's
sounds
the
like it
thing.
just
That's
woke
the
up.
fallacy. That's the fallacy in it, is that I don't have an explanation and now I'm creating one, and it has to point to something supreme or divine. When in reality, the universe could have always existed, and Earth could have formed like every other planet, and just so happened to be the one that could inhabit life.
Well, it really couldn't have always existed because, in science, they do. I mean, this is what scientists
How old are
say. There
you?
has to be a starting point. There has to be.
How old are you?
No.
How old are you?
No.
25.
And so in your 25 years, you ever think that that's not that important and that scientists have never admitted that it has to have a starting point? Scientists never admit to anything because there's no absolute truth in science.
That's
And,
true. I
and
completely agree with you. I mean,
to add on top of that, the Big Bang was a start point for our universe, but space-time continuum itself, we don't know when it actually starts. So it could possibly be infinite, because infinite doesn't really entail much. But the Big Bang, we've all it could always just existed. Like what?
but
Like that's another
the,
possibility.
the
That's the point,
concept of it,
Oscar, that it can always have existed, or it could be that it doesn't exist and that we're plugged into some bullshit right now. What
it's
if it doesn't
absolutely,
exist at all?
it's very possible. I mean, a lot of people have simulation, theory. They very well could be right. I have no idea.
Do you believe in the afterlife?
That's a tricky subject. I mean, kind of to get to where I am now, like mentally, I've been,
Somebody said in the comments empirical truth. Yeah, I didn't say empirical. I actually said a word called that started with an A. I'll restate that word for you again. It was absolute. I understand American literacy levels are pretty low, but stop making shit up and putting words in people's mouths. I ain't saying nothing about no damn empirical. I said there's no absolutes, and there's no absolutes in science, and scientists will admit that nothing is absolute.
but I guess to answer your question about the afterlife, I've been Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist. I've been most of the religions, and now I currently don't have one. So to ask like, what is my opinion on the afterlife? I really have no idea, but I guess my stance on it would be whatever that specific person, whatever they want to happen in the afterlife,
Harrison, is
or
that your
think
ass?
will happen, is what I believe.
I got bored. So I had to hack into Mavis's account again.
We gotta let Dominion talk next.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, Dom can get in the conversation, of course. You guys just conduct yourselves accordingly, and we can run it from there. Like,
Oh yeah, sorry I had to leave the Discord call last night.
Dominion, what you think about this?
Okay, boom. So somebody that came from religion, you can absolutely have a relationship with God and not be religious because of the fact that there's a difference between having a personal relationship and being religious. When we're talking about a personal relationship, we're talking about an experience in a culture, a particular lifestyle of being connected to your inner self, right? The way that they taught us from church was to think of God from an external point of view when it's really internal. Okay. So on top of the fact, when we're saying religion, we're talking about the institution and traditionalism, right? And when you really think about the essence of what the essence of what God is, right? From a energy and consciousness standpoint, not from a religious standpoint, because religion strictly is institutional, right? But think about this in context. If Christ's purpose, you have to think that it was religion in the first place that put him on the cross and then created a whole structure to mock their martyr, right? Tell me how that makes sense. To, when we're talking about personal relationship, we're talking about a state of consciousness that's getting back to the original form of initial purpose. That's why he said in the word that we're created, being created in this image and likeness. We're talking about spiritual.
But when you say God is actually internal, I mean that goes with the
That's
Christian worldview because the Holy Spirit's inside of us.
You said it goes
I
with
just
the
wanted to
worldview.
interrupt. I just wanted to interject and tell y'all that my only thing is just don't insult each other. Be nice. Don't yell. One mic. You guys have been doing really good at that. I actually have another topic, but because Chris wasn't black, I didn't switch to it.
No, you good. I mean, I think Oscar and I kind of went back and forth on it. I truthfully believe, topics like this, people have their own beliefs, and you never will agree. And in practicality, I don't think it really matters. I just think it's good to be able to have people talk to each other in a civil manner and display their point of views, and hopefully agree on some things, and if not, open up the mind a little bit to think about things you wouldn't have previously thought about.
Yeah, you definitely laid out your idea as well. Because even though I don't agree with you, I understand why it makes sense to you, and you said it clear and concise. But
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I get where you're coming from too. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we don't always have to agree.
What the hell is this?
Yeah, you did.
Bro, how did I just end up with a random animal on a mountain?
Dude, I was wondering what the debate topic was. I was like, God damn, who's the go to basketball?
Like, what the hell just happened? Why was it just a random goat on a mountain or something?
Yo, Oscar, you watch basketball, my man?
Yeah. And when you brought up the GOAT, it's LeBron.
James is the first thing that came to my mind when he said GOAT, my bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's kind of silly to pick like one player over so many eras to be the GOAT, given how much the game has changed and just the way people play it. So I got
young Mobile Shaq in my top 5.
All right. But I always like to ask people, give me, if you had to build, what's your 5
when you
all
think
time?
about it, I want y'all to look at like old basketball games. They were actually
cheats,
not
bro.
good.
They were cheats, bro.
And they were not good. Dom said this is an interesting topic.
Yeah, no, like I tell most people, and not cut you off, Oscar, but take like a 1980s sports car that's the best in its time. It's amazing. Maybe it changed the the automobile game, but compare that 80s sports car to a brand new McLaren or something. The McLaren's gonna mop the floor with it, and it's simply because shit's evolved, it's changed, it's gotten better, and there's nothing wrong with that. But so I don't really like comparing different eras. Like people say LeBron versus MJ, and it's like it was a completely different era. You can't even compare the two because the game was so different. But so I always like to ask people, give me your 5 all time, and
Yeah, the
Are these
game
monitors too
definitely
loud,
changed.
or we're not doing basketball, you guys.
What do you mean? Jayla, you gotta know about ball. You got nothing but sons. You talking about I don't want to talk about basketball.
One of my sons is into science and the other one is actually into music. I don't think that just because I have little black boys they gotta play a sport.
But I was about to play the piano. That shit fire.
I've been playing the piano since I was 5. Is this monitor too loud for the live? Can y'all even hear the monitor?
I can't hear the monitor, no.
Okay, that's why I've been staying on mute.
All right, since we can't talk about basketball.
Well, real quick, give me your 5 all time. I'm curious.
My 5 all time?
Both
or Oscar's?
I got mine's ready.
Go ahead, Oscar.
Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, LeBron, KD, Steph.
Okay.
Wilt Chamberlain is so underrated because they always use that excuse.
No, we're not doing all this.
I gotta explain my answer.
A full analysis? No.
Well, What's that?
Can I get a brief analysis?
I don't need an analysis. I know that he's underrated. Okay.
He averaged 50 points. All right. I'll leave it at that.
I'll give you my 5 just because I brought it up. I'm gonna put Curry at 1. I'm gonna put MJ at 2. I'm gonna put LeBron at 3. I'm gonna put Duncan at 4.
Curry over LeBron? What the hell are you talking about?
No, Curry's the point guard. No, my 5, like not top 5, like point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power, like position wise. I think it makes more sense talking to people like that because I think
all right.
Yeah, I think you can find more common ground. But yeah, no, Curry, MJ, LeBron, Duncan, and Jokic. Those are my top 5. Jokic, you can debate it, but he's a dog, and I fuck with him heavy. So
the only way I would have let y'all slide is if y'all were talking about football. I don't give a fuck about basketball.
I don't know nothing about football. I know a little bit. I know a little bit. My favorite team is the Vikings, but I don't know much.
What? Said nobody ever. Yeah, let's get into it. I've been having this topic about the bunny hoppers. Because they bunny hopping out here. And on top of that, when you pray to this God, I want you to know that the slave owners and the slaves prayed to the same God, and one of them succeeded in living off of a land that they never even owned, that we built, and then the people that were praying stayed in slavery for 400 years. So, which one of these people is the God answering?
I mean, I guess I'll go first. I mean, I think everybody has a different conception of, God, and a lot of people can radicalize it and say as though,
This topic is geared more towards the Abrahamic God, the God of Abraham and Isaac, or Abraham and Ishmael, than any concept of God. Because there's a lot of Black Christians, and I want them to know that came from indoctrination and not by choice.
I mean, I guess I suppose the way I view Christianity, given they love.
What are you? Are you Black?
No, I'm not Black. But I think the Christian God, they love Jesus and everything, and I think Jesus represents love for. I was Christian at one point, and I think the whole concept of Christianity should be to love one another and embrace each other, to grow in everything. So I think any individual or group of people that are praying to a God and they have malicious intent, or it isn't spreading love and kindness, I think they're radicalizing this God is not good representation.
Christianity, looking into the Bible, there are several times in the Bible where it is not spreading love or any of that. Jesus literally saying, bring people to his feet, and if they don't believe, unalive them. He's also saying things like, go into this town and unalive all the babies, the animals, the men, the women, but if they're virgins, you can keep them to yourself. This Bible does not promote spread of love. I mean, what are you talking about?
I mean, I think it's hard for us to understand a book that was written thousands of years ago.
It's pretty easy. You can just read it.
Well, I just mean the culture itself was different. So
okay, so if people used to sleep with newborn babies, right? Thousands of years ago, and we know that that's wrong just because they did it, does that mean it's okay?
Well, I mean, culturally, okay.
Listen to what I'm asking you.
Well, I'm just going to preface. I'm playing devil's
advocate. Slavery happened in the 18th century.
Right.
It is the 2000s. We can look at that and say that's wrong, right?
Absolutely, but I'm saying
okay, so then that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying culturally at the time, the majority of people might have agreed with it, and that does not make it right by any means. But if a majority of people during a certain culture or era believe it's correct, that's going to be the moral compass for most people in that era. Does that make sense?
No.
I'm sorry for you. What do you think? No, I wouldn't say I'm sorry for you, Chris. I was talking to that guy's name. But what do you think?
I know that. Hang on. I know that wasn't you pressing buttons on your pump.
No, that was the noise.
Okay.
No, I don't know what I can even do right now.
Okay. I know what the buttons sound like, so I heard it and I was like, "What is she doing?" You let me know if you need me, Jayla. Okay.
I'm sorry for you. What's your thoughts on this?
What'd you say, Jesse?
I said, you let me
The
know if you
prompt.
need me. I just know those. I know those, but the button presses when I hear them.
It's because I'm on a 500-liter bolus of IV fluid, and I'm on monitoring while they are testing for preeclampsia because my blood pressure is elevated.
Okay.
And I have small contractions, nothing crazy.
Okay. Well, I heard the buttons pressing on your pump, and I thought you were doing it.
No, the nurse came because the way they put my IV is so weird that it like keeps stopping.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm listening. I love you. I'm sorry to interrupt y'all.
You're fine.
All right. Keep me posted, okay?
I will. I'll probably Discord you about it.
Okay. Carry on.
I think I'm probably going to dip out just because I'm not Christian anymore, and I think this debate is kind of revolving around the Christian God, and I do agree with you. I mean,
It's the Abrahamic God, so that means the God of Catholicism, Judaism, Islam,
yeah, it's
not
like
just Christian.
yeah, Christian, and I agree with you completely. I think in the Bible,
That's not the
Jesus.
Christian God. That's what I'm explaining to you.
Okay, go for it. I apologize.
The God is the God of Abraham and Isaac, Abraham and Ishmael. This is called the Abrahamic God. And according to a pantheon, Yahweh has a wife and he creates earth with his wife. But when you say the Christian God, that actually tries to separate this God from the fact that this is the same God for 4 different religions, the 4 main monotheistic beliefs.
Right, Judaism, Islam, etc., etc. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
he's
I
the
don't.
Abrahamic God.
Yeah, I don't believe in it, and I can't really argue, this argument because I agree with you. So I'm gonna dip out. I appreciate, y'all being loving and kind and willing to hear me out, being civil. And I hope y'all have a wonderful day and whatever you got going on, I hope that goes great for you. Hope y'all.
Chris,
Yep,
what's
yep.
up? I'm sorry.
For what?
No. That was the name. I'm sorry for you. That's the guy's name.
Yep.
But definitely appreciate you, Chris.
Yeah, bro. Y'all good company, good people. I appreciate it.
I definitely come back if you
I
see
got
another
you.
lap.
Yup. Deuces, brother.
Pete. So what you think about it? I'm sorry for you.
So you said like if money supremacists and black people pray to God, which one he's helping? Is that like the prompt?
Oh yeah, you can go with that. Who was he helping in that situation?
Probably both.
How was he
How? We
helping?
ended up.
God is very paradoxical in nature. I think everyone has like a very skewed version of God in their head.
Isn't that a problem?
I mean, it could, but like in this world, sometimes you could do something bad and good results come from bad things happening, and other times you could do something good and bad results happen from you doing something good.
So with slavery itself, is there like a good result that we just don't understand yet?
I mean, probably. I don't justify anything. It's just that, well, somehow it netted us in a country where there's a bunch of food and water. So,
I mean, but the bottom line
Do
with
you
that
think that
was,
America's the only country with food and water, or where are you going with that?
I think we're like the freest country, no? Unless I'm wrong about that.
There
But
are countries that have no GUNs, no school shootings, no problems in the healthcare. They get universal healthcare. The women get months to years off when they have babies and they're taken care of. The men are not fired for whatever reason ever. The people get to exist. There's countries where the water is so clean outside that you can just put a cup in it and drink it. The fact that you think that America is a free country is the illusion that they sell to people, when in reality, the only thing in America is have babies so that we have more workers so we can work them until they unalive. That's why the retirement rate is trying to get changed to freaking 80. America's not free, it's the illusion of free. And so people come here thinking they're gonna have a better life. And I can understand if you're coming from like a third world country or you're, in a place that is dangerous. But there are countries in Europe.
well, yeah, probably. big on other stuff, which is why I inferred that I could be wrong about the whole freedom thing. But needless to say, it's a better spot than I believe we were at one time.
So, but like you said, that God answered both people's prayers, like the slaves and the slave owners. How was the slaves' prayers answered?
Well, eventually, everything got abolished. I don't think there's any slavery nowadays, unless you're in like a third world country, then maybe there's slavery over there. But
There's
worldwide,
slavery in America.
There's sex trafficking, that's slavery.
Oh, you cannot say that on TikTok. Are you
yeah,
crazy,
but it's not
girl?
like
Sorry,
There are
smack.
1 million. There are 1 million people in America that are inside of trafficking that we are accounting for right now. That is slavery. They cannot leave. They are property to somebody. They get sold and auctioned off. They get traded, or they get unalived. When these women
is
try
that
to
equal to
leave,
or more
they
than what
bring
we
them
had
back.
back in the day?
Listen to what I'm saying. When these people try to escape, sometimes they put devices in their bodies. Sometimes they'll come and find them, and they'll unalive them and take their organs. They do all kind of stuff to these people. That is slavery. By the
Yeah.
13th Amendment in America, if you go to prison, you can be enslaved. What happens with this is we know that Black Americans are more likely to receive harsher punishments for lesser crimes. So if we are the majority of people getting sent to prison, then of course this is a way to enslave us. Slavery didn't end. Actually, just last month they reported that children who were adopted to a YT family, 5 children, were forced into labor and treated like slaves and lived in a stable.
My
So
point
we
wasn't
know that
that
slavery
slavery
is not
ended, though.
over. There are children in other countries that are
That wasn't
experiencing
my point.
about the same thing. So there is slavery in America right now, dude. We're not better off.
Yeah, that wasn't my point. I didn't say it ended. I said majority wise, not everyone's a slave.
But
Like it used to be the
we are
majority of Black
slaves.
people who were in like America were most likely slaves, versus now the majority of people aren't slaves. It's like
Yeah, but when slavery ended, what happened after that? Indentured servitude, Jim Crow era, civil rights movement. These things have only happened in the span of about 60 years ago. My dad is 60. My grandfather's 70. These things didn't happen that far long off. We are still affected by them. Racism, the last 3 letters in that, ISM, ism, signifies a systemic issue. So systemically, we are oppressed. Our children are getting put out of school for not having the right hair types. People are not able to go to work with their real hair. They have to have professional hairstyles. There's a lot of things that are still oppressing us that come from that. So we are not better off or free. Black men and
I
Black
think we're
boys get unalived in the street by police. Police were used to be slave patrol. They were known to take the slave back to the plantation. They're still doing their job and catching Black men and unaliving them in the street. Who is better off, us or the oppressor?
there was never a theory about conserving who's better and who's not. But
I
if we're
never said who's
comparing
better.
back
I said
then,
who's better off.
if we're comparing slavery from back then to now, we are.
We are not better off.
Now we are from back then. If
We
we're
are not
comparing from
better
back
off in
then to now,
America when our skin color can literally be the reason we get unalived, dude.
are you not understanding? So you would rather be a slave back then?
That's not what I'm saying. I think you're not
So you're
understanding.
not saying so we're
By
not
saying
better
that
off
we
than we
are
are right
better
now.
off, we are not. Our lives are still in danger just because we're Black.
I never said that, but
So we're
we're
not
still better off
off.
than slaves back
What is
then.
the solution is what we want to
Do you
know.
know that some slaves,
Yeah, I like
some
the title.
slaves,
The solution is
do you know that some slaves, I'm not talking to a woman that's not Black about my solution for my community. When
I
they,
am
I
Black.
don't care. You're not Black enough. Anyways,
What's the
what you gonna pick
solution?
up a picture of your granddaddy
What's the
so we can prove that
solution?
you're Black? I don't got time for that. What I'm about to say is, some slaves actually didn't even have a terrible life. Some slaves actually had a nice house where they're taken care of and all this stuff. But we say that those slaves are
those
better
slaves were like
off,
living like us.
but they're slaves.
Yeah, but those slaves were living like us.
That woman, no, the reason I said she's not Black enough is because this woman has been everything since she got on the block. She has been a master's degree. She has been all kind of stuff. Like that's the problem is that she's trying to be all these other things just to prove her points and stuff. Oscar knows what happened. I'm not prejudiced towards black people. This woman has literally been using all kind of things to have credentials to have conversations.
And yeah, when she brings up not better off, that's talking about there's still inequality. So,
well, yeah, I agree with that.
Where's God?
Wait, Oscar, are you seeing the comments? They're saying me of all people I'm prejudiced because I'm not letting this lady who also just used. No, she uses things to have spaces and conversations that they are not needed. When we were literally talking about something about etymology of words, she brings up a master's degree in fucking behavioral like analysis. We're not talking about that.
Jayla, when you're cooking, you don't look at the comments. It's gonna ruin the flow. Your flow.
But it's like, why do they keep bringing like y'all think I'm prejudiced when I married a dark skinned black man and because I love black people and have black children and I care about the actual like hell.
Hello, good folks. How are you doing today?
Hold on. No name haven't spoken yet.
It's a zero sum game. Either you're free or not free. It's not a spectrum. Exactly. There's no spectrum of freedom. Either free or you're not, and we're not free.
So like I'm gonna just say this, right? To Jay's point, yes.
Are you black?
Me? Well, I'm biracial, so.
Your mama black?
My daddy black. And my mama is Latina. But to again, like to your point, a lot of times I feel as though like people don't like. Yes, you could say people can have the argument. I'm not agreeing to what I'm sorry said, but I could see the argument where people can be like, "Oh, well, the black community is better off now than what it was back in those times of slavery." I get that, but you can't undermine the struggles that black people go through today, right, on a day-to-day basis. Like to say that that things like that aren't happening, it's completely like disingenuous. Like, how you gonna sit there and say we're better off, but yet we still got
Does
problems, we
acknowledging
still got
something
issues?
undermine another? Is that what that equals? Acknowledging something is undermining another?
Yeah, because you're trying to make it seem like we better off, but if you look at it statistically, we're really not that much better off than we was back in them times.
So if you walk outside right now down to a Walmart, you are in danger of getting lynched.
I didn't say
I
that,
want
but
you to know. Wait, you can't say
That
that
is
word
a
on
better
here.
off
But I want you to
situation,
know.
bro.
Hold on. We can't say that word on here. But I want you to know. Actually, in my city, Orlando, Florida, an 18-year-old boy was that word, and that was only 3 years ago, maybe 4. It's not
I
that
heard
far
about
off.
that.
So
I
black boys
remember
are still
when
at
that shit
fear of that
happened.
happening. Did you know that in places like Mississippi and Alabama, that actually happens often in sundown towns? People are still in fear of that, and that's still happening to them. That didn't go away.
Yeah, so for people to sit here and say like, oh, well, you guys don't have it as bad, you don't know because you're not you don't see it happening to you. Like you just see what you just bro. You just see what happened.
And tell me
No,
we
dog.
aren't in a
Listen,
better place right now.
I got a question. I got a question.
People are still getting put on trees like fucking fruit.
No one is saying
wait,
we're not. That's not my argument.
So is that better off?
Jayla,
Is that better off? Living in fear, is that better off?
Not dying and actually being able to live a full life is better off.
But that's not
people back in the day didn't even have that choice.
It's not happening for a lot of black people. Hold on. That's not happening for a lot of black people. Why do you think every few years black people are becoming hashtags? Every few years, people are having to protest for the lives of black individuals. Every few years, I want you to know that down south, especially in the deep south, people are still experiencing Jim Crow era. Okay, they're still being put on trees. They're still being put through discrimination, being unalive for their skin color. It did not end, and you're privileged to think that it's over because you live somewhere where it's not happening as often. But in reality, this is the reality for a lot of people. Okay, I had to leave Florida because as a black woman, I was being in a situation where because I was black, they were trying to unalive me. My mom stood in between to save my life. You are aware that this thing is happening, but because it does not touch you, then yeah, we're better off. We're not better off. I have to be so protective of my little black boys and move them out of the South because that we are not better off. Stop being so dense to the fact that these oppressions and these things like that still exist. We're not in a place where we can live our full entire lives. When little black boys are losing their lives and becoming hashtags because of their color of their skin, that is not living a full life untouched. That's not true.
Now,
If you think
now,
that, then you don't know what's going on around you.
Well, to be fair, Jayla, to be fair, you're talking about the South, the deep South, whereas in Mississippi is the lowest of the low in education ranking in the whole nation, right? So these people are not. Alabama too is like top 5, like lowest in the
What does
whole
that have to do with
nation.
black people losing their lives to their skin color
That has to do
in
with the
America?
ignorant. It does because
No, because his point is that we're better off and that we can live full lives. So no
but
matter
you
where
talk,
we are geographically on this continent, in this country that we live in, we are not quote unquote better off. We
that's
are
not
still
true.
at risk for the same thing.
That's not true.
If it's
Because
not true, then why don't we
yes,
have equality and equity?
well, we do. I mean, just
Where?
point to me a
It's
law
because
where
for her, it's all or
talk to me
nothing.
a law. No, point to a federal law that stops that discriminates us from doing what we need to do.
The Federal
Point.
Crown Act.
That's not.
They're
That's your
trying to
hair.
pass the no, listen. They're trying to pass the Federal Crown Act because black children are not able to graduate from school because of the hair that grows out of their scalp. Black people are not able to work jobs because of the hair that comes out of their scalp. So
Is there a law?
essentially, that is a law.
Is there a law on the books?
But
Yes, that's why we're making the Federal Crown Act to get against that law.
on top of that, just because the law doesn't discreetly say it, they're doing it secretively where it targets black people. And you have to have an open eye to see through the deception that is targeting black people.
When you have
Listen,
people who
I'm
are
out.
high up telling the women that they're in cahoots with, and they say, "Can you not deal with the black people in front of everybody?" And that's coming out in actual recording in the NBA that he's saying things like, "Well, if you're gonna deal with those people, I don't want you to do it where everybody can see you because
Oh,
they're
you talking
ashamed
about?
to interact with us."
You
That's a
talking about you
problem.
talking about the players like Miles Bridges who beats up his woman. You talking about the
What
players
are
like
you
John
talking
Morant.
about?
You talking
I'm
about
talking
John
about. I'm not.
Morant. You talk.
What in the
Why
fuck
is
are you
sports coming
That's not
talking
up?
what we're talking
about?
about. Hey,
Why is
hey,
sports
Big
coming
Papa.
up?
He
Big
knows
Papa.
that's
You
not
talking
what
about
I'm
the
talking
NBA though?
about. That's not what I'm talking about.
Here's what I wanted to point out real quick, Big Papa. Like because we don't live under objective racism anymore. We live under subject racism, de facto racism. So there, of course, there's not any law that says, oh, if it's a black person, you got to throw away their application. There's no law that says that. Of course, there's not. However, the HR managers, the hiring managers, they will look at paperwork and see Demetrius Jackson and say, oh, that's a black person, and throw the application away. There's actually been studies doing that, where they actually put a quote unquote black sounding name like a Lakeisha, like a Latoya, like a Demetrius, and stuff like that, send those applications in, and guess what? More than half the times, those applications racism. We're not under, oh, there's no laws that said we can't do it, therefore there's nothing holding us back. That's not how racism actually works in this country.
Okay, so for one, you have to cite the sources that you got that from. Second of all, personally, I understand everybody's situation is different, right? I respect it. I respect that there's racism out there, there's hatred out there. I understand that. I'm just talking from my viewpoint that what you talking about, everybody is under the system. I'm not under the system because it never affected me. So it can't be everybody that's under the system, because maybe the majority or maybe a certain percentage is under the system, but not every single black person in this country is under that system, because I've never was denied opportunities because of my name. And
Okay,
my first name is Tyrone.
hold
How
So
on.
it's
many
So
like,
you
systems is
live in
there?
Hold on, let me
Hold
respond to
on,
him
hold on,
real
hold
quick.
on, hold on. That's
Alright.
like me saying just because I'm a woman inside of the patriarchy and no man has ever been misogynistic towards me, then guess what? We don't live in a patriarchy because it doesn't affect me as a woman because not every man is misogynistic. That's not how that works.
But he said everyone. He said every single black everyone. Everyone means everyone is affected, and it doesn't. That's not true. That's
probably that shows me that you weren't listening. I didn't say every single black person is going to face racism. I said in this country we're not under objective racism anymore. We're under subjective racism. That doesn't mean that when you go out to get a job, you're going to be denied every single time because you're black. I'm saying that this is a trend that we see when it comes from a Harvard study, a Stanford study, and a study that was done in Chicago. It's been done over and over and over again where we see this happening. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna say, but for me, I have a job, right? And I'm an insurance agent. You feel what I'm saying? So like, I got a good job. I'm okay. So I'm not saying that every single time to every single black person, this exact thing is going to happen. But it does happen. There is a trend, a measurable trend of it happening. And if you think that's not gonna have an effect on the overall society, then you're absolutely out of your mind.
I would like to share this.
Can I ask a question?
Hold up, behave, because I already know how you feel and you like to touch white women. When I was working during, it's something wrong with it. Be quiet. When I was working,
are you
bro,
biracial?
shut the fuck up.
That's why people don't like black women.
I don't care. I'm already married to my black man. I don't care if you like me or not, dude.
You happy?
This is my panel. Yeah, he's happy. He put a baby in me. He's happy to talk about the next baby.
Anybody can
Shut
put a
the
baby
fuck up. You want me to send the live time so I can come talk to you? Gosh. The reason I'm telling y'all to be quiet is because this is my live. And when I'm talking, y'all don't need to be talking. And I've been quiet and letting y'all talk.
Go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is when I was working during COVID, I remember this feeling I got because I was like asking questions. It was during the beginning of the vaccination period. And I asked this man and I said, and your race? And he said, why does it matter my race? And he's 60. He's like 60, 70. And I'm like, I'm black too, okay? I don't want to profile you. And I know you don't want to tell me your race because you think that it's something like about the vaccination is going to happen because you're a black man. Just, you can share your race with me. I got you, dude. And like, he instantly got like this relieving feeling because the way he changed his tone and was like, oh yeah, I'm African American. It's like he knew, right, from his own experience as a black man in America, how many times he had been discriminated against. And he was scared to share his race with me. That made me feel a type of way because my parents are around the same age as that man. And that's weird. Like that my dad has to tell me stories about white tea only, black only. Like, and people think that this happened so long ago because the pictures are black and white or that it was in a history book. But my great grandma passed away when I was 15 and she was born to indentured servants on a fucking plantation. This didn't happen that long ago. It's still something that affects people that are alive right now. And the people that are the same age as them that did it work in our Congress and in our Senate and in the House of Representatives. So it's not over. It's not over. Joe Biden once said in the 70s that he didn't want his children to go to school with black children because he didn't want them in the jungle with monkeys. This is your president right now. Like, this is not something that went away. It's not over. Are you gonna conduct yourself accordingly, Big Papa?
Well, I just found it was very disrespectful for you to make.
I didn't drop you, actually. Addie did.
Well, Addie, I mean, listen, bro. Addie, I see he's trying to fit in, or she. I'm sorry, my fault. She is trying
dropped you
to fit
because you
in.
were being disrespectful towards me.
Well,
I'm not trying to fit in.
Oh yeah, you're trying to fit in. But anyway,
no, any of these black men up here would have checked you just the same because you decided to be disrespectful towards me.
Why?
Go ahead, Jayla.
Addie, chill out.
But why did his preference of women matter to anything? If he wants to touch Asian woman, if he want to touch Latin woman, if he want to touch black woman, that's his freedom. That's his freedom.
He never said that he was attracted to white women. His reasoning for picking white women was because black women cheat. So then that's not a genuine attraction.
But that's
That's
his.
a
That's his.
hatred
That.
towards black
But
women.
that's his. But
You
that's
did.
his.
I have the recording of a 7-hour live yesterday, and I played it back. You indeed were the
Jayla,
one
that
who
wasn't
yelled
me
out
for the
black women cheat.
20th time.
So who
That
was it? Because
wasn't
it
me
was in
that
my
said
recording.
that.
Your box came blue and said black women cheat. So
I,
are we arguing with recorded
okay.
evidence? TikTok records
That's
every single live that we have.
Look, I'm a man. If that's if that's really the stance that I'm taking, I stand on that. Like I'm not gonna
No,
be
so
ashamed of
TikTok
telling you
records
that
the entire
that's not
live.
what I
I
said.
went and looked at the live after I got off live. Your box lit up and you said black girls cheat.
I never said everybody cheats. I never said that. I don't have that.
Oscar was here in attendance when that happened.
Okay.
When you said not everybody cheats, that
I
seems
said
like it's singing out a group,
I like
or some people's excluded.
women of the rainbow.
Nah, I wasn't even on the comment. It was a lot of people in this live yesterday, so
Yeah,
it was
that's
just
why I went back to the recording.
okay.
And how could I discuss a black man who doesn't choose black women, who has a hatred for his own color, an issue that's inside of our community when he doesn't even feel the need to work towards building his community?
So Jayla, every black man needs to be with a
Does that?
black woman.
Is that what I just said out my mouth? Did anybody hear that?
No.
No,
I
I
just want
didn't.
to ask.
I think he's just
I just
asking a
want.
question.
I'm asking a question.
No.
You.
And what
Okay.
I just explained was that I have no problem with people going outside their race if they just genuinely fell in love with somebody that was outside their race, or they just genuinely were attracted to that person, right? But whenever you say, oh, I picked this race because, and black women do this too. Black men cheated. Black men were liars. Black men were bums. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. So I chose YC men. Oh, black girls are loud. Black girls are aggressive. Black girls talk back. So I went with this race. Whenever you do that, which you just did that, Big Papa, because you were like, this is why we don't like black women. That is not a genuine preference. That is a hatred towards another group of people.
But everybody does that. Everybody
No,
compares.
we don't.
Everybody compares something. Like even with cars, like you look at cars, right? Some people be like, I don't like Hondas because of this. This is why I get Toyotas or whatever.
Are
Everybody
you comparing
compares.
humans to cars?
No,
I'm
I'm
not
just
gonna
saying
cap.
people
I'm gonna have to
compare
push
everything.
back on you on this one because not one time in my life have I ever been like, see, this is why black women don't.
Well, that's you. I mean, everybody has different experiences.
There's a
That's
lot of
why
people
not
like me,
everybody's.
bro.
There's
Well,
actually a
that's
lot of
them.
people up here. Volty would never do that. Oscar would never do that. You seeing
Yeah,
me
like I
in
like
my
all types of
own
women. So
setting
Well, that's your
say that.
preference.
No, listen, when I just said one thing, you decided an insult to me, which is actually an insult to yourself. It's not an insult to me. Any black man who don't like black women is kind of weird because you came from a black woman. But if you're
saying I
gonna
love
sit
black women,
there
but
and I do one action and you
they don't
go,
like
"This is
me.
why we don't like black women," you're
Did,
weird.
did I choose who I came out of? Do you get to choose who you came out of? You
No,
just so
listen to what
happen you
I'm
came out.
saying. Are you listening?
I'm
There,
listening.
just because you're acting this way right now, right? Which is very ignorant, and you have been loud and aggressive with me, and you were sitting here and trying to insult me. Not once did I say, this is why y'all should stay away from black men. You
Well,
didn't change how I feel about my black husband that I'm having black babies with. Doesn't change how I feel
I
about
know.
black men. I still see
Okay.
black men to be strong and attractive and
You
possess
don't
a
need black
power that a
showers.
lot of men don't. I didn't have to change my rhetoric or how I feel about black men because of one black man being ignorant towards me or trying to insult me. But because I acted one way, you decided to say, this is why we don't date black women. And that shows more of your character than any character of any black men, because black men are
Listen.
strong and powerful
Because
and
black
not
people
somebody
think
that
that
chips
having
away at black women.
because black people think that having babies with somebody means you love them. You could have a baby with somebody and not love them.
What the hell?
Like you
Where did
could
that come
like
from?
No,
it's
you
just a physical
shouldn't be
action.
doing that though,
Where
actually.
did that come
But people
from?
do that.
That
But
came from because Big Papa asked Jayla
If we
if
gonna have
her
a
man
discussion,
even.
bro, let's have a
Bro,
discussion,
come
bro. Like,
on.
why do
Wait,
y'all always
no,
try to
so this is
villainize
what the
someone for
problem
a
is.
statement that they
He
made, bro?
literally
Like,
just said, this is why we don't date black women, and you're trying to circle jerk him. Shut up over there. This is my problem. Me expressing that I made children out of love timed it tracked it. My man took every step with me, down to us finding out the gender. That is a signifying thing that shows that we love each other. I would not offer my body to a thing that could take 4 years off my life for a man I did not love. So I guess because other people do this thing where they have children and it's not out of love and they're not married and building a family, me building a family and homeschooling my children is an act of love. A lot of parents don't take that time to build with their children. Me being in the gap for my man when he's in danger, the first person he calls is me. We are each other's safe haven. He come in my life every day and support me and watch me because he loves me. So not just that he put a baby in me, that he put me in a house and he worked towards the goal that we have together, that we've been building something coming 20 hours away from our home state, that we're building a future together. That's genuinely something you do with a person you actually love. You're not doing that with somebody you don't like.
Can I ask you a
I
question? Because
like that. That's a
that's a very interesting point. Do you feel like some married couples stay together? Not you. I'm not picking you out. Do you feel like some married couples stay together because of the kids and because of what they have and the
Yes,
things that they're
I
working
experience
towards?
this daily.
I don't know.
Yes,
We didn't
I experience
we
this
didn't
daily.
have any when it comes down to it,
I would say you should do that.
we literally we're talking about two people that lived in a car together for 2 months and worked towards getting the house that they live in to raise their children. I don't know what these other people are doing in their marriages. I could give two fucks. Me and my man are not married for the kids, so I don't know what other people are
I'm
doing.
not saying that you. I'm just all I'm saying is that
I'm married, so the only business that I have is the business in my household. I cannot tell you what the other people are doing with their households or with their families or anything like that. That's not my business. That's all I got.
Oh.
Do you not think that you could have done that with another person like outside of your race? I
I'm
feel like
only attracted to black men, so
right. I mean, that's fine. I
I
understand
have
that.
no
I
attraction to
need
any other race of men. I don't look at other races of men in any light and be
I
like,
need me a black.
yeah, I want to take one of those down. Like, no. When I see a dark skinned black man, I am
Peanut
astonished
butter complexion.
by the way that he came together.
I mean, do you think that can be achieved by like interracial, like
I don't
interracial
care what
family?
people do with their. If you want to achieve that with a white people, go achieve that. I don't care. As long as you genuinely love your partner and it's not fetishization, or I want to have babies with mixed babies with little curly hair and like brown skin, and they're gonna be so cute, and they're gonna have green eyes, or oh, black women was cheaters, black women cheated on me, black women lied, black women did this. If you genuinely love your partner, I don't give a fuck. I don't know how many times I can say that.
Could be.
All right, well, it's time for me to get to my my family reunion. So we gonna discuss anything about race for the next few minutes, or we good now?
They asking me
Man,
questions
bro,
for some reason because they want to justify sleeping with white sea women or something.
I feel like
Well,
we
listen,
play.
listen. I have
Who
my
is
preferences
they?
in Latina, so I like Latinas, But that's everybody got their preferences, Everybody
Right.
got their preferences.
Black Latinas or white Latinas?
It don't matter. You a Latina, you a Latina. I love you. That's it.
Crazy work. That's
You could pass by
fetishization.
Haiti then. Haiti is a
No,
Latino
no, no.
country.
It's not. It's not. I mean,
Why
Haiti
do
is
you
not
like Latino
really,
women?
but
No,
what
Haiti is a
happened?
Latino country. Haiti is a Latino country.
Is
Yes, it is.
Why do you like
well,
Latino women?
it does speak a Latin-based language, so I guess it.
Why do
Exactly.
you like Latino women?
But yeah, but okay. What? Hello. What? Oh,
Yeah,
why do I
why
Cause
do
they
you
like?
like
sexy,
them?
bro.
I just like it. I just like Latino.
Cause
Like
they
you like
sexy,
black
bro.
what? You like yeah, exactly. Like you like black men. Like you like the dark chocolate men. Whatever. Okay, you just
Oh no, no, no,
Melanated
no. I don't
complexion,
naturally
like
the
look at
black
that.
tone.
men because
Then
of their.
that's it.
Hold on, let me just say this. I don't like black men because of their skin color. I like black men because I'm aware of the power they possess inside of them.
Okay, and I know the power possessed inside a Latin woman. So yeah,
No,
that's
you
it.
can't use what I just said
He need
about
a cooking
my
and the spices
reasoning
they
and just
possess.
take it.
It's exactly the cooking.
No,
It's
when I
just the
asked
old
you
the
why you like
tradition. It's
Latino
everything.
women, you said I don't know, they're sexy and all this, right? you then tried to say that I like black men because of their skin tone. So then when I said no, I like black men because of the power they possess, and I chose my black man before his personality and the fact that he was funny, etc. You tried to hijack that, but when I asked you why you like Latino women, you just said that they were sexy.
Yeah, they're sexy.
Sexy,
You know what?
sexy means looks good enough to have sex with, right? Doesn't mean they're
No,
beautiful
Is
or
well,
power
well,
not
no.
sexy though?
It's sexy could mean like, listen, the way
no.
she
The word
cooked, the
sexy
way
means
she
looks good
it's
enough to
sexy.
have sex
She
with.
okay. So you now defining what I view, what I
No, I'm
describe as
telling you what
sexy.
the word means.
I don't care what other people's
It's
definition of
not what other
sexy is. What
people
my
definitions
the
are in the
defi-
dictionary for a
well,
reason.
that somebody agreed upon. Somebody said, you know what, this is what sexy means to me. I'm gonna write it in the dictionary. But me, my
That's not how
personal definition.
etymology of words works, actually.
Oh my gosh, here we go. But you know, listen. Oh my gosh, listen. I just like Latin women, and I just like Latin women. That's just me. I like Latin women. That's just what it is. Like I just like Latin women. I'm just attracted to Latin women. I just like how they move. I like what they do. I like their traditions. I like their values. I
But you
like.
can't explain your attraction.
I
I just
said
like
my
women because
attractions. I
I'm
just said
straight.
it. I just said it. I just
You said
said
that they're
it's
just
their.
sexy.
No, I said their values, their traditions, their morals. I like it all. I like, you know, I just like it. I'm attracted to it. That's just what it is. Just like you attracted to your black men, right? Okay, so everybody got their just like this behave is attracted to white women. Everybody's attracted to somebody.
I
That's just
don't
my
know if
attraction.
that's true. I don't know if that's true.
So
Anyways, what's up, Demar?
What's happening? What's happening?
Nothing in the hospital having contractions, being disrespected by black men. The usual.
I'm
Does that
sorry to hear
include
that.
me?
I'm
I
sorry to
didn't
hear
do
that.
nothing.
No,
I
you good.
have a
I'm sorry.
black.
You good.
But on topic of attraction, like anything that one race can say or one person, I should say, is attracted to one person can also be the same exact reason another person can be attracted to another person. So this
Yeah,
conversation can
but then when
possibly
I
go back
said
and
that I
forth.
was building with a black man, they wanted to question, could I do that with a whitey man? Like,
Yeah,
but then when
you
I
should be
asked
able to. Yeah.
you about your attraction, now notice this one thing, right?
Yeah. What's up? Talk
If
to me.
I ask you why you're with your partner, you probably say things like, she's funny, she got a good personality, she's pretty, she's cool, right?
Right.
You wouldn't say, oh yeah, those other girls that I dated were cheaters and mean, and
Yeah.
that's
Well,
not genuine
I'm not even
attraction.
connecting. I'm not even connecting the past because the person I'm presently with technically like.
Exactly. So that takes away from your attraction when you have to put somebody else down to do it.
Yeah, in a sense, you shouldn't have to put someone else down just to show the beauty in what you already have. If what you have is truly beautiful, then it's going to shine regardless.
Exactly, Damar. So when I said one thing, this man said to me, that's why we don't date black women.
I mean, to each their own. Some men might take that and
yeah, I just don't like
generalize,
black women. I
and
just don't like black women.
some men might take that and might generalize. But to each, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. It depends on your environment, your upbringing. Most of your surroundings, which really molds how one's attractiveness is. So, I mean, it's a real complex topic because it's very individual.
Shit, I had bad experiences with black women. I don't like black women. That's just what it is.
So we could just
I'm not
chop
gonna
it
hold
down to
you.
a
That
trauma
statement
response
of
too.
I don't like black women does trigger me a little bit, just as much as somebody would say I don't like Asian women or I don't like Puerto Rican women or white women, because I think that all race of people have beautiful women in it. Women are beautiful as a whole, my nigga. So I
I
can
like
never
women.
just say based upon my
Yeah.
personal, like I've had bad experience with white women, I've bad experience with black women, and
But do you see
whatever.
what I
But
was
like I know
do you
there's
see
still
what I was
beauty
saying the
within
whole
them that
time?
that could still potentially catch my eye.
I mean, I feel like there's a
I
caveat
literally
always
let him
too.
talk for a reason, right, guys? Because remember I asked him what his attraction was to Latino women? And he
Yep.
couldn't give me anything at first, and he just said, I just like that, right? But
Yeah.
now I'm seeing the truth, right? Because he's just yelling, I don't like black women. Black women hurt me. I had bad experiences with black women, so I don't like black women. That's why he likes those women. Not because
Wait,
he's
so
No,
genuinely
I
big,
like the women
attracted to
because I
big
them.
Papa, Big
Because his
Papa,
first thing to point out was that
what's
now
up?
he's sitting here yelling about how much he doesn't like black women while
do
coming
you
from
do
a
you
black
not
woman.
like ghetto black women? Because black women and ghetto black women are two different things.
No, I just don't like this generation. This batch of black women that's out today. I just don't like them. The older generation, yes, I like more traditional black women, like how it was, back in like the day and stuff like that. But in this day and age, nah. But that's most women now. What I'm saying is that I just don't like our community, the sexy red. I don't like all that. I don't like the mindset. It's more and more of that. It's
There is
more.
more
It's
of
more.
that's
but we
teetering
also
more on
have
like
to
the
remember
Shaniqua
the
kind of
reason
ghetto.
why I don't think there's really more and more in that. We have to realize there's an agenda being pushed, especially within the black community when it comes to our music industry. Like they are giving these people the platform to where now majority of the time we turn on our television, that is our representation. But we have to realize that the beauty of media is that it gives the 1% a voice, but sometimes that 1% is now given a platform to make it seem like that's the majority. There are sexy reds out there. There are,
Somebody just asked me the other day about this. Did I feel that sexy red was a representative of the black community? No, I have never seen
the black
myself
community
in black
didn't vote
in
on a
sexy
sexy red.
red.
You got to realize these artists and these idols and these
YT
stars
people signed them.
are
And
forced.
they have to do what the
They're put
YT
up there
people
for a
say.
reason. They have that platform for a reason. They have no talent. How they get there? Because they're being picked to be up there to make sure to control the conscious minds of mostly white Americans and black Americans to keep black people in this bubble of this is who we are, and they're doing that through media.
Is this like an intervention?
Yes.
So
no, I think niggas is just
I don't know. I'm just here, bro.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I'm not. I've tried it myself personally with black women. I don't have.
How many black women?
What's he talking about? What's he talking about?
A lot of black women. I was with a lot of black women, and I'm not. It's just
You're
not
the
for
problem.
me.
Why
It's
is you with
not
so
for
many
me.
women?
Wait.
Because
can you tell me what he's talking about here?
He's
It's not
saying
for
he doesn't
me.
like black women. Black women were a terrible experience, and that he likes black people. Hold on,
we
y'all.
got a bunny hopper.
Hold on, y'all. He said he don't like black
I got a
women.
Latina hopper. That's why.
Hold on. He
What
said,
define you tried
hold
it?
up, Stephen. Damn, y'all don't hear me talking. He said he don't like black women. When I asked him why he was attracted to Latino women, he said he don't know. He just think they sexy. And then 5 seconds later, DeMar started talking, and he started going on a rampage about I don't like black women. Black women did treat me wrong. Black women are this. Black women are that. He don't like black women.
Okay,
and then
so
now he's trying to say he don't like this generation of black women, and that he don't like the sexy reds.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, you go ahead, Issy, and then after Issy, go ahead. I don't know if you want me to say your name here, but I know you in real life. And then step in, and then
You say this generation of black women, but I just want to put out there, and I said in the comments, black people in general and black women are not a monolith. There's different types of black women. There's a whole bunch of different types of black women. Say that there is a specific type of black woman that you don't like or you don't get along with. I get that. You can say that. But by saying just all black women, that's disgusting work. Egregious work.
Well, I just don't like black women. What's so wrong about
That's why I asked him if it was like the ghetto type.
That was egregious. Damn.
Oh my gosh. I got you
That's
don't
why
like it.
That's why I asked him if it was.
Hey,
like
I'm not
ghetto.
gonna fall. I mean, if that's that man's preference, I mean, to each their
No,
own.
fuck all that.
Like I could be friends with.
I'll be that person. I'll be like,
fuck all that.
happiness, bro. 'Cause at the end of the day,
That's that man's fuck all that.
Hey, yo, what's the
Bunny
trait
hopping ass
that make you
Go
not like
ahead.
black women?
Go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
Like,
I could be friends with them. I could
No,
be.
you be quiet. Go ahead.
no, but like, what's the
For me, like it's just not.
So
for
does that
me.
not
I'm
say
sorry.
something about you?
Strong woman, a woman that'll talk back, speak on how she feels.
You want someone that's not gonna respond back to you.
Does that not say something about you though? That every woman that you've been with, that every black woman that you've been with, has, if you're gonna say, treated you the same
Think about that for a second.
Facts.
Does that not say something more about you than them?
Maybe, but it's just no connection there. It's no connection there. Like, so that's just what it is. I came to peace with it. So I'm good, and they good. You know what? We could be friends. They could be my family
We don't want to be
members.
friends.
I don't want to be with them.
What's your
We
relationship?
don't want to be with you either. I'm not fighting for no
Your
black man that
mom's
don't like black women to be with
like
black women because he's gonna be the worst option for a black woman. He gonna spew hatred. He's gonna tear her life apart. He don't like black women, so I'm not. Go stay with them people that you like. Because when we decide to take you back, if we decide to deal with you, you're gonna be the worst thing a black woman ever met because you don't even like black women. You would probably be very hateful towards them, tear their life apart,
No, I'm not
tear them
hateful at
down.
all. I'm
Because
not hateful at all.
you are hateful if you can sit here in our face and tell us you don't like the very women that created you. That is hateful. And the fact that you're trying to sit here and say this generation of black women is this, that, we could be friends and all that stuff. We don't want to be your friend. We don't want to date you. Stay where you at. Go where you appreciate it. We don't want nothing to do with your ass. And that's why every time one of those women that are outside of our race decide to be like, yeah, I got a black man. I'm what the black men want. Yeah, keep they ass because they don't want you for a genuine reason. They want you because black women treat them wrong. They don't want black women. They don't like themselves. They don't like black women because that's a self-hatred thing. You're the same color, if not darker than most of us, and you got a hatred towards us. You don't like us. Stay where you at.
No, I said I have no hatred, and I said they could be my family members, they could be my friends. I don't care about that.
But not your girl. That's crazy.
wanna...
That's disgusting work. I'm not gonna lie. That's egregious work.
Do you see how that's racist? You don't see how that's racist.
That's not for me either.
backhand Latinos?
All of them.
Okay. And do they talk back to you?
No.
He lying.
I'm not lying.
They definitely talk back.
I was not capping. I'm not capping at all.
Orlando. Come on now.
Those women, I'm from Orlando, Florida.
Not to me at least. Not to me at least. I'm good. I'm good with it. I do what I need to do, and I'm good.
Exactly.
They do not just let people do whatever to them or talk to them however. Then they start to moving their neck and popping their hand and speaking another language at your ass. And the only reason you let that slide is because you think it's attractive.
They call it
But if a
spicy.
black woman do it, you call it aggressive. That's what that is. They do it. Trust me.
Got him.
Well, it is what it is. And, like
exactly.
I said,
Get your ass.
we could be friends. We could be friends. We could be even.
We don't want to be your friend. We can't trust no man that don't love the people that he came from. No, thank you.
I hate you. I do not hate you.
We don't trust you. We don't want to be your friend. You don't like black women. You said I do not like black women, and you think black women want to be your friend? No, thank you.
Why can't we all just get along?
No, we can't because you don't like black women.
I just don't like them to date. I don't want to date one. I don't want to date one.
But you're saying you don't like us, so we don't want to be your friend.
Wait, just because the man, let me defend my brother for a second. Just because the man said that's not his dating preference, I ain't gonna go to the
No, I
extent
don't want to be around
friends.
any black man who says I don't like black women. Black women are problematic. Black women this, black women that. You're tearing down black women and think we want to be your friend. I don't want to be friends with anybody who tear me down. That goes for white people, yellow people, anything that you think of.
And when you exclude them, you have to generalize.
Blue people, it don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You're gonna sit here and tell and keep on saying things like I don't like black women. I don't like black women. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to be friends with anybody who don't like me.
And when you generalize, you don't see the problem with that, like saying all of them do this or all of them are like this, or you assume all of them are a certain way.
Why can't I have my dating preferences? Wow.
No, there's nothing wrong with
His
preferences are rooted or generalizing a whole collective mass of people that you've never even encountered.
I'm okay with preferences. I'm not okay with preferences rooted in self-hatred or negative stereotypes. or anything like that, dude.
Would it be crazy for me to say I would not date somebody from California, even though there's a whole lot of different types of people from California?
Yep.
Well, that's your prerogative.
But would it make sense to you? Would it make sense to you though? It would not
it don't
make
have
sense.
to make sense to me. It don't have to make sense to me. It's your prerogative.
You know, this is the point that people are trying to make to you. I prefer apple juice, but I still drink orange juice. I prefer Latina people. I still date black people. That is a preference. Me saying I date this type of people and I don't date this type of people. I won't date this type of people. I don't like this type of people. This type of people is bad. That's not a preference because preferences don't exclude. That just means I prefer. So that is not a preference. That is self-hatred. And I don't want to be friends with nobody that's like that.
That bit went from preference to prejudice.
Like I prefer bacon, but I still eat sausages. No, listen to what you're saying. That's my preference, but I won't date them. I don't like them. That's not a preference. I prefer bacon, but I still eat sausages. It's not a preference when you're not preferring something, but you're literally excluding an entire thing to do this other thing. Because me preferring dark skinned men, I have also dated other brown skinned, lighter skinned black men. Because I just prefer dark skin. No.
Have you ever dated? So you never dated a white man before? Have you dated an Asian man
No.
before?
Nope.
Okay.
He's
Okay. Have you
crazy.
dated Latin man before?
They're
Spanish
not
guy?
in my proximity.
Oh.
Where I
Well,
live,
listen.
that's not proximity to me. Where I'm from in Orlando, that is not my proximity.
What?
My proximity
Orlando?
is,
Orlando got all the Hispanics.
no, listen for a second. There is West Orlando, which is predominantly an African American part of Orlando. There is East Orlando, which is predominantly the Latino culture. There's Haitians, a lot of Haitians inside of West Orlando. There is also another part of Orlando where it's like a melting pot. You might see anybody. I am from West Orlando, Texas Ave. You tell me how many black people you see and how many other races of people you see. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna see a lot of black boys. As soon as you pull up on the street, all you're gonna see is a lot of black boys. Where I'm from, the school I went to, 1% of the population of my school was other races, and it was white people, and Hispanic people were like about 13% of the population of my school. Like it's not that many people where I'm from. And Gary is from my same exact city, went to the same exact school as me. He would tell you that our proximity was black children.
Let me
That's
hop
why I
in when
feel
y'all
like
get a second, man.
your environment in which you're raised in plays a huge role in your choice of picking a partner or just overall attractiveness. If you're that black kid surrounding yourself by a white school because your parents travel for work and you're bouncing around and that's where you ended up, chances are you're gonna end up with a white girl. There's higher chances. That's why the athletes get a huge stigma. A lot of these athletes go to these big D1A programs that is 80-90% white. Chances are they're going to end up with a white woman. It's almost
Yeah,
a
but
number.
guess what? There's a good percentage of black men who grew up around a lot of black girls, and they literally go outside their demographic and go outside of their neighborhood. They're called passport bros. They go outside of their country to find women. So
I think
even
it's a
in
bigger
proximity,
problem
they're
of
trying to. That's a self-hatred problem.
no, I'm
If
not going
you're
to call
going
that.
out of
I don't
your
need to
way,
be a
no,
part.
no,
I
no,
don't
no,
need to be a
listen.
part.
If you're going outside of your way to choose something else, then that is way past preference, dude.
I won't call that trait self-hatred because I know a lot of
No, listen to
in
what
the
I'm
athlete
saying.
background.
Majority of black people are in
Majority, okay.
proximity to black people.
I'm gonna keep it a buck.
And so when it comes down to it, majority, I want y'all to know statistically, black women are the most race loyal women. Black women want to date black men. Black
Yes,
men have a self-hatred because they daddy left them, so they should be mad at their daddy. If your daddy loves you so much, why he ain't take you? Hold on, let me finish what I'm gonna say because y'all already talking while I'm
Wait,
talking.
my
So y'all
daddy
don't
didn't
even know where
left
this is
me.
going. Y'all don't know where this is going because y'all already talking while I'm talking. Can y'all conduct yourselves accordingly? What if I said right now, this is why I don't date black men because they don't listen to black women when they speak?
That's your preference.
No, that's not a preference. That's hatred.
Not a
Okay.
preference. Why do y'all
So
keep
let me finish what I was gonna say. Their mama stuck around, took care of them, but because she was hurt by the man, all she did was spew hatred. You just like your daddy. You're never gonna be nothing. You're not smart. You're not enough. You're nappy headed. Don't come home with none of these babies. Yada yada yada. Just spitting all this nasty and negative stuff towards them, and then they then decided, I hate black women because my mom was a terrible person, and then they decide in school because they're in school with other little black girls. They try to talk to them. The little black girl's like, "Boy, you lame. Don't nobody want nothing to do with you." Yada 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 yada. More hatred. So then when
But I
they
have
get to
both
a
of my
point,
parents at home.
did I say this was your story, Big Papa? Did I say this was your story?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so shut your mouth. Jeez. So when you have a child who's getting hella hatred from black people because black people can be their biggest enemy, and black women are, you ain't got enough money, you can't buy me no Birkin, and yada 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 yada. I want pasta and lobster. Then I understand the built up hatred that would come from black female teachers, black guidance counselors saying you won't be nothing, black mother saying you won't be nothing, black father being in the home and absent or outside the house and just telling you coming to pick you up. And when he do pick you up, y'all go to his girlfriend's house and you sit in the living room and watch cartoons while he sit there and put his feet in every girl in the fucking city. I get the hatred.